So, let's talk a little bit about what and where. What are you going to study and where are you going to study it? Our only agenda here is to help you make an informed choice. This is why we're here. This is why you're going off in the afternoon to talk to the heads of department and the subject specialists. Informed choices. We want to make sure that you get it right, not in right, getting it right. Because the consequences of getting it wrong, the consequences of choosing a wrong course are going to be with you for at least 3 years. Because you will have perhaps to change course, that's going to set you back, and you're going to be worrying about it, and you're just going to be behind the curve. So you want to get this right. You need to find a course that is going to get you out of bed on that cold February morning. And if you're doing accountancy because you think you should do accountancy, then accountancy is not going to get you out of bed on a cold February morning. If you're working as an accountant and you've got kids to feed and a mortgage to pay, that is very, very motivating. But if you're a student and the only thing that's getting you up is lectures, then for the love of God, choose a subject that you actually enjoy. Because that makes it more likely that you might get out of bed rather than roll over and squeeze another 45 minutes of sleep out. Pick a subject that you enjoy, not a subject that you think you should do. The subject you think you should do is going to make the next 3 years incredibly painful, and probably means you won't get as good a result at the end, and that's the end of the game. The other reason why you want to pick a subject you love is that it makes the application process that much easier, because you don't have to lie all the way through your personal statement. If you really want to be an ichthyologist, as I did, but you find yourself being pushed towards accountancy, that personal statement is going to be really, really hard to write, because you want to say, ever since I was a small child, I wanted to be an accountant. I hope not. Maybe ever since you were a small child, you wanted to be a fireman or a spaceman or a shark specialist. That makes your personal statement really, really easy to write. Or maybe philosophy really fired your imagination at the start of the year. Or maybe it was another subject that really grabbed you and said, yes, this is what I want to do. Well, that's going to make writing your application so much easier. And not just easier, but more convincing. Think about it. How many of these applications does an admissions tutor have to plow through? Hundreds, maybe thousands. And if you're just going through the motions because mum or dad wants you to be an accountant or a lawyer or whatever it is, that's going to read very, very obviously in that personal statement, and that's going to go into the special file. The admissions tutor, particularly for the very, very competitive cases, the very, very competitive courses even, wants to see that integrity of application coming through. And if it's not there, it's really, really obvious. So again, pick that application, pick the subject you love, and your application should almost write itself. In terms of making the application, then we're going to look at the UCAS statement. Again, a lot of the administration is going to be driven by the course that you're actually applying for. The choices are obviously going to be driven by the course, and your personal statement is going to be driven by your course as well. So getting that course right echoes through the entire application. And the same really goes for destination. You've got 3 years of the destination, you're going to be there for 3 years. There are going to be subtle differences in the course. The course in marine biology at Bangor might be slightly different from the course in marine biology at Southampton. The course in politics in Warwick is going to be subtly different from the course in the politics at York or one of these other institutions. So when you're choosing a destination, there will be ramifications in terms of the actual course that you are studying. And this afternoon is an opportunity to explore the subtle differences that are out there in all of these courses and destinations. And of course, every destination is a very, very different environment. Maybe you want to go to London, maybe you don't want to go to London. Maybe you want to go to a big campus university, maybe you don't. Again, this afternoon is an opportunity to explore the different destinations that are available and what that is going to mean for you over the next 3 years. And of course, when you're choosing a destination, there are going to be different entry requirements attached to those, different emphasis in terms of what they're looking for in those applications, and this is what you will be able to explore this afternoon. Here's a little thing I stumbled across while I was researching for this particular presentation. The latest data that I could find is from 2015 to 2016. So, how many people do you think, or what percentage of students in 2015 did not turn up for their second year in 2016? What percentage of students do you think? What percentage of students do you think dropped out after a year? 37? Not quite that high. 15? It was 6%. Now that probably seems quite low to you, all right? But based on the number of people here, that would be about 8 of you. So all of you who start a university course, if all things stay the same, 8 of you will not turn up for your second year. And that is a function of you getting it wrong in the very, very first instance. And that is a monumental waste of time, effort, and energy on everyone's part. How many students do you think actually left without, oh sorry, hang on a second, I haven't finished yet. By the way, that goes up to 20% in some places. So some universities, out of everybody who started, 1/5 of them didn't turn up for the second year. So in the case of you guys, again, that would be about 25. Some universities, that rate is as high as 20%. Now that 6% is the average, so obviously there are universities where almost everybody turns up for the second year. In some places, it goes down to only 4 out of every, 20%, so whatever that is, 4 out of every 5. I remember when I started university, my tutorial partner disappeared after a term. And I didn't see him again. He dropped out after a term. That caused him tremendous anxiety. It also meant that somebody else missed out on a place at my university. So don't get it wrong. Make sure you get it right. Today is an opportunity to look into that. So how many people do you think actually start university but finish without a degree? Lads, if you keep chatting, I'm going to separate you, because it's really distracting. And rude. Okay, so how many people do you think in 2015, 2016 started but didn't finish their course? More or less than 6%. It was more, 10%. So again, that would be about 12 of you. If you get it wrong, if you apply to the wrong university, if you apply to the wrong course, 10% of people drop out without a degree. We want to avoid that as far as possible. We don't want to waste your time, we don't want to waste your money, we don't want to waste the university's time and the university money, and I don't certainly want to see my tax, which is paying for your education at university, being squandered, right? So we want to get this right for all sorts of reasons, selfish and less selfish. So today is an opportunity for you to ask the questions. You are going to be in a room with subject specialists for a long time. Ask them the questions, because it's not going to happen again for a long, long time. You have their undivided attention this afternoon. Ask them the questions that are going to help you make informed decisions. Right, that's really the choices aspect of the presentation covered, course and destination. Let's talk a little bit about personal statements. This is something one of student here got last year, I think it was. This was not Oxbridge. Okay, this was not Oxbridge. This was a non-Oxbridge university, and they said very, very simply, your personal statement was not as good as others what we saw. So the personal statement matters. And of course, the more competitive the university, the more competitive the course, the more important your personal statement becomes. It could very well be the difference between you getting a place at your first choice and you finding yourself having to go way down the food chain and going to somewhere ghastly. Again, something we choose to avoid, if it's all possible. So, what is your personal statement? This is what the admissions board get. This bit here, obviously, is your personal details. These are your choices.